Hi, everyone. This is Professor and Counselor Robert Alexander, and we're going to get started today on Lecture 1. Okay, if I do have a textbook, this is where the lecture would come from. But for this quarter, since we don't have a textbook, I'm just going to be drawing from various PowerPoint presentations that I've created in the past and providing you this information in order to save you some money. So as I am talking, I want for you to take notes, right? The more you write, the more you will retain information. Okay, so this is chapter 1, coming from the Comprehensive Stress Management textbook. The outline for today's chapter is we're going to talk about the pioneers of stress management. Okay, we're going to talk about stressors. We're going to learn how to look at stress reactivity, okay, a definition of stress, and our stress management goals. Okay. So one of the pioneers of stress and talking about fight or flight, his name was Walter Cannon. He was the first to describe the body's reaction to stress. Okay. And fight or flight simply means the body's stress reaction that includes an increase in heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, and serum cholesterol. Walter Cannon was a Harvard Medical School physiologist, and he was the first one to describe the fight or flight response. Okay, so you want to write this down. Okay, Hans Selye studied the physiological responses to stress. Okay, he was an endocrinologist. He also exposed rats to stressors and observed changes in their body's physiology. So they studied rats, including the enlargement of cortex or the adrenal glands, shrinkage of atrophy of the thymus, the spleen, lymph nodes, and other lymphatic structures. He looked at the disappearance of eosinophil cells, which is a type of white blood cell. Okay, and he took an intense look into the bleeding ulcers in the lining of the stomach. Okay, so the general adaptation syndrome, 3 different stages of stress reaction: alarm reaction, the stage of resistance, and the stage of exhaustion, when we are tired, when we are burnt out. These are all things that Hans Selye introduced to the medical world. Now, I want you to pause the video and take a little time to look at the general adaptation syndrome in action. Phase 1 is the alarm phase. Phase 2, the resistance phase. And phase 3 is the exhaustion phase, okay? And as you see, this human is in the hospital suffering from severe exhaustion. And we don't want it to get there, right? There are things that we can do to combat these stressors. Okay, so just going further in terms of learning more about other influential researchers and pioneers, Simmons is the first one that kind of talked about related evolution to the psychosomatic disease. Okay, Wolf, LaShawn, and Engel, they studied illness, disease, and stress. Freeman and Rosenman, they identified the relationship between stress and the coronary heart disease, right? Because if we let stress prolong or go on for too much, it could lead to death, right? And it affects the body, right? It attacks different parts of the body, especially the brain and the heart. Okay. Researcher Simonton, he added a component to the standard cancer therapy, right? And he said that it consists of visualizing the beneficial effects of therapy upon malignancy. So there are 2 different types of stress that I'm going to highlight on this slide. One of them is eustress. So eustress is a good stress, right? Good things to which one must adapt, and that could lead to a stress reaction for job promotion. So you may experience eustress before you do a job interview, right? Because this is going to release cortisol, it's going to release certain chemicals that will allow you to perform. Okay, so a lot of people view eustress as a good stress. Okay, a bad stress is de-stress. So bad things to which one must adapt to, and that can lead to a stress reaction. So a bad distress could be the death of a loved one, loss of a family member, loss of a job, losing your home, foreclosure. Those type of things are all considered a de-stress. So let's get to the good part. I know a lot of you want to hear about some of the relaxation techniques for this class, right? You know, meditation is one of them. So you're gonna find a lot of activities throughout the duration of this class that have to do with meditation. But another relaxation response is a series of bodily changes that are the opposite of the stress reaction. So that's a definition of the relaxation response. Autogenic training, a technique that involves a sensation of heaviness, warmth, and tingling in the limbs. Progressive relaxation involves contracting and relaxing muscles throughout the body, right? Called the neuromuscular relaxation. Stress theories or life event theories, right? So stress occurs when a situation requires more resources than are available. So daily hassles are more stressful than the major events. Okay, and we call these life events. Allostatic load, cumulative biological wear and the tear that result from responses to stress that seek to maintain body equilibrium. So as your body is fighting to maintain balance, this could lead to biological wear and tear, right? So wear and tear on the mind, wear and tear on the body, wear and tear on the heart. Okay, and this could happen throughout a lifespan. So if we are enduring certain levels of stress, whether you're in a very stressful relationship, you're in a very stressful job, you're in a very stressful situation that is ongoing, we refer to these as life event stressors. Stress theories, the hardness theory and social support theory. So the hardness theory refers to the ability for one to focus on one's attitude towards a stressful event. Hardness is buffering between stress and the development of illness and disease. So social support theory, this stress occurs when there is not enough social support available to respond to the event effectively. So this is why it's crucial to have a support system, right? Whether it's family members that you're checking in, whether you have your own therapist, and our school offers psychological support, right? We call it the mental health and wellness team. And you have up to 5 sessions at the ends of college. So please look for the mental health and wellness team on our website. Okay, this is something that some students do to just work through some of these life event stressors or major event stressors that come up throughout a lifespan. Okay, stressor is a stimulus with the potential for triggering that fight or flight response. Either you're going to fight, right? You're going to try to deal with it. You're going to figure out ways to push through that moment, that stressing moment, or you are going to quit. That's that flight response. Okay, you're going to flee. Types have to do with the environment, psychological, sociological, and philosophical. The human body has evolved to respond to stressors with an immediate action. It alters the physiology for great speed and strength. Stress reactivity. So the term for fight or flight includes increased muscle tension, heart rate, blood pressure, and perspiration. There's a change in the respiratory rate and brain waves. So these effects are based on the duration and the degree of one's physiological reaction. A strain, the outcome of stress reactivity. This may be physical, logical, or behavioral. A physical strain, tension headaches. Psychological strain, agoraphobia, right? Not wanting to be around people, right? Behavioral strain, alcohol abuse or drug abuse should also be added to this slide. Gender differences in reactivity. So females exhibit nurturing activities designed to protect themselves and others in coping with stress. So the use of social groups more, right? So males exhibit more of a fight or flight response, and we tend to use social groups less. So these are some gender differences between how folks deal with stress. Okay, the working definition of stress is a combination of a stressor, stress reactivity, and strain, and ways in which the term is used. Stimulus, response, whole spectrum of interacting factors, and stimulus response interaction. Now, whenever we have a table, I want you to take some time and pause the video so you can read all the elements of the table, right? So we have the stressors are the alarm clock doesn't go off. You know, when a student, an individual ends up being late for class, right? Stressor number 2 is burn the toast at breakfast and spill coffee on the floor. So I want you to look at our profile person, which is Jesse, and how he responds to stress. Okay, so this is the stress profile, and then we also have the stress profile versus the healthy profile. Take some time and read through the slide. It's table 1.2. The good thing about video is we can always pause. Table 1.2 is a comparison between Jesse and Rick's stressful day. The stressor is a computer crashes and the file for term paper is lost. Okay, one way in which dealing with the stress versus the healthy response from Rick. Pause the video and make sure you have enough time to read through it. Stressor number 3 is having difficulty learning the material for an important exam. All right. Okay, our stress management goals for this particular lecture is do not eliminate all stress. Use stress as a motivator for peak performance. Identify the useful and stimulating and welcoming aspects of stress. Limit the harmful effects of stress. There's an optimal amount of stress, not too much and not too little, right? We talked about it. Eustress versus de-stress. Eustress is good. It allows you to perform. It allows you to release different chemical responses in the body that can peak performance in a good way. So you can do well in that particular event, where de-stress is usually responding to something that has happened in a negative way. And we are looking at healthy ways of dealing with stress, right? So this figure right here is a relationship between stress and illness. Take some time. All right, so that concludes chapter 1. I'd like to thank everybody for taking time to look at this video. There are questions connected to this chapter. You have an opportunity to go back to the video. That's the good thing about video, is we can go back to it. We can highlight certain areas from the video in which we want to get that information. And we can also look at different parts of the video in terms of answering questions. I'm Professor Rob Alexander, and the best way to contact me is through email, alexanderrobert@fhba.edu. Goodbye now, and I'll see you for lecture 2.